So, the very first thing I do when I look at sculpture is not look at the sculpture, but to look at the space between it and the wall. First, for me, I put sculpture into two categories, two-dimensional and three-dimensional, and it's not what you think. It has nothing to do with the physical depth of the sculpture itself, and more to do with an opposite strategy for communicating form. Here's what I mean. This is a contemporary artist, Simon Schubert, and this is just a piece of paper. All he does is folds it to create shadow, which gives you the illusion of depth. It is a two-dimensional sculpture. I know it's flat. It has nothing to do with the physical depth. But as far as your brain is concerned, it is no different communicating depth than this. I'm willing to bet that you've never seen this from the side, let alone the back, nor have you ever considered what that might look like, because its actual physical depth doesn't matter, except for your brain when it's recognizing shadows. So it's the same trick as Simon Schubert, or really any painter. It's a two-dimensional thing, and they're creating depth with dark paint. Sculptors are creating the illusion of depth with dark light. Another more advanced example, contemporary sculptor Kevin Francis Gray. This is a marble sculpture of a clay sculpture. So it's hand-carved marble to mimic a clay model. And again, even though you can see it from multiple angles, it's the shadows and sometimes the lines that are telling your brain information, not its actual physical depth. By contrast, three-dimensional sculpture will blow your mind. This is the work of Antony Gormley, and it is underwhelming. The reason is because three-dimensional sculpture does not translate to a two-dimensional medium like your computer screen or a photograph, but I'll walk you through it. This is made of solid steel bar. Each square is about 3.5 inches, so the entire thing is just under 4 feet tall. Because it doesn't read well in photographs, the only way I could possibly think to communicate this to you over a video is to recreate one in miniature. I modeled and 3D printed a little one so I can kind of demonstrate what it's like to move around this thing. Okay, as a reminder, the real one is metal and large. This one is plastic, but I hope will still demonstrate the point. It's an abstract sculpture when you first approach it, but as you move around it, and you have to move, it becomes clear that it is a human figure crouching down. So this is the feet, this is the head, the shoulder, around the back to the butt, across to the knee. Coming around the front, you have the second knee, and this is the right arm reaching all the way down to the floor, so it's like the Terminator pose. And the left hand is a little difficult until you come over here and hang over the top. You'll see the two shoulders here, and this would be like the spinal column coming all the way down here. Do you got it? Awesome. There's not always like a hidden form in three-dimensional sculpture, but it does always require you to move. For example, Bove, an abstract sculptor, again, boring in photography, but in person, just so poetically amazing when you walk around it. This is the best part. Here's why the space between the sculpture and the wall matters. Obviously, yes, it's an indication that it could be a three-dimensional sculpture, so you're going to want to cruise around it. But more frequent and more awesome is that it is a two-dimensional sculpture with curatorial override. The most famous example of this is the statue of David. When Michelangelo carved this, he knew exactly where it would be placed permanently for all of time. And that is here, the roof of a cathedral, with a very narrow pie slice of viewing angles. In other words, no one was ever supposed to see it from the back. No human, because pigeons. But it was just carved for Michelangelo's own completist satisfaction. And so when people realized it was awesome and brought it indoors, the curators made a very interesting decision to pull it away from the wall so you can see it from the back. And when you do, you're looking at this secret, at an artist out of the spotlight, at their true personality when no one is looking. It's like the inside of an iPhone. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's this thing with absolute perfection, even though no one was looking, and you get to see it. The point of all of this is if you go to a museum with me, you'll see me do this like snaky thing, where I weave behind sculptures, and that's because I never want to discount a boring sculpture if I'm only seeing it from one angle. Maybe there's something there in walking around. And though most sculptures are two-dimensional, I love like the permission slip to check it out from an angle I'm not supposed to. Thanks for watching. You're gonna want to hang out for this because it's gonna get rad right now. The reason it took me so long to make this video is because I had to figure out how to do this. How to not only 3D print something, but how to 3D model something on the computer without lasers or even measuring it, just by looking at a thing in a gallery to draw it as accurately as possible and print it out. And it took me a while with a lot of failures. If you want to see that whole process and the techniques and everything I learned, I'm making a second video. So there's going to be a link here when that's done. If you don't see a link, make sure you subscribe to my channel so you get that and all the other videos I'm making. Subscribe no matter what. And please like the video. It tells me if you want more content like this, and honestly just makes my day. Thanks for watching.